Good morning. I'd like to bring the May 17th, 2023 Planning Advisory Commission meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I'd like to remind everyone in the audience to please silence or turn off their cell phones. And also want to remind those in the audience and those watching on television that this is the first hearing of the rezoning request that's being brought before us today. We'll first hear a reading of the staff report by planning staff and ask the applicant to provide a brief overview of the request. We'll then give an opportunity for anyone in the audience to speak for or against that request or to ask questions about it. And then the commissioners will have any discussion they need. Once a motion is made and seconded by a commissioner, a vote will take place and the commission will make a recommendation. That case will go back to the planning department for its independent recommendation. And if planning gives a favorable recommendation, the case is forwarded to the city council with the two independent recommendations. If the planning department recommends denial, the applicant will have 10 days from the receipt of a letter stating the denial to notify the clerk of the council that they're requesting to be placed on the city council's agenda. And when this comes to the city council, the council will hold at one of its public meetings a first reading of the case. The council will consider the case, review the PAC and the planning department recommendations, and hear discussion on the matter. And council will make its final decision at a second public meeting, the second reading of the case. Our first agenda item today is to approve the minutes of the May 3rd meeting. Does anyone have any comments or corrections? Okay, do I hear a motion to, so moved, seconded? Okay, all in favor? All right, it's 5-0. Minutes are approved. And that brings us to our only case for today, which is case REZN 04230714. Will staff please read the staff report?
Yes. So this is a request to rezone 0.60 acres of land located at 6700 Green Island Drive. The current zoning is single-family residential. The proposed zoning is single-family residential 2. The proposed use is to be used as a single-family residential properties, 2 of them. The current lot is about 2,700 square feet, and the applicant would like to split that into 2 parcels, one that would be 13,500 square feet and one that would be 12,750 square feet. Both of those are under the minimum lot size for the zoning of the area, SFR1, and that is why they are requesting to go to SFR2. The current land use designation is single-family residential. The future land use designation is mixed use, so that is inconsistent. The average annual daily trips would increase from 16 to 25 for the residential use. The surrounding zoning in the northeast and west is single-family residential 1 and residential estates 1 to the south. The property is in the River Road Overlay District, but that does not apply to this property because it is a single-family residential property. There were 13 property owners notified, and we did receive 3 calls now, 1 inquiry and 2 opposition. 1 opposition was concerned with the property values, and 1 was concerned with if this is allowed, what would be allowed in the future, how small would those lots be? And I believe one of those callers is here today. And that is the staff report.
Okay, do commissioners have any questions for staff?
What is the minimum lot size for SFR1?
15,000 square feet.
Okay.
And then 10,000 for SFR2, which is what they are requesting.
And another question, you said that the SFR2 would be inconsistent with the future land use, which is mixed use. Now, it's also the case that the current zoning is inconsistent with the future use, right?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if there are no further questions, would the applicant please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us an overview of your request?
Good morning. My name is James McVeigh, represent Leary and Brown Builders Incorporated. I want to thank y'all for meeting this morning for this one case. So we are the owners of the property at 6700 Green Island Drive. When we purchased the property approximately 2-3 years ago, we were building a home for a customer beside this lot. They had purchased a home, had it torn down. This property came up for sale. We thought it was a good opportunity. So the lot as it sits or sat previously, it's 175 foot by 150 feet. But it's actually two parcels. When it was built on, I guess in the 60s, it was never split into just one parcel or made into one parcel. So it's actually a 100 foot and a 75 foot parcel right now. So according to Will Johnson, when we bought the property, we could build on it today just like it is as a 100 foot and a 75 foot because that's the way it's actually platted right now. But we want to do two lots, 190 foot, 185 foot by 150 feet. We just think it's more marketable. We can put a little larger house on a 85 foot lot than we can a 75 foot lot. So that's why we're here today. The one lot at 100 by 150 does meet the SFR 1. The 75 by 150 does not, but since it's grandfathered in, we could build on it. So we're not actually going to add any more homes. We could still build two homes. We're just going to have two equal size lots or close to equal size lots.
I've got a question for staff. Is that your understanding of the situation as well, as far as there being two existing separate lots?
Yes, they are two tax parcels, I believe, right now, but there was one home originally on it, and then that has been torn down, and now that is just an empty lot right now.
Okay, so we're not being asked to split the lots, just to move the dividing line, basically, or
Well,
let them
we
move the
wouldn't be doing that,
dividing line?
we're talking about rezoning. We're not, the replat would probably happen later if this was approved.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're not asking to add any lots. We could still build two homes on it. We're still going to build two homes. We're not going to add any more homes. So, and there's really, to address the question about future whatever, there's really no other properties on this road that this is going to pertain to. I mean, there's a property a little ways down, but I don't think it's not 175 feet wide. I don't really know in the 60s when this was built or platted how they got a 175 foot lot and built in the middle of it. But they did. I guess they just bought two lots at the time. So we are very, very close to the Creekside development, which is just right down the street, which those lots are 60-foot lots. I'm not sure of the zoning, what that's zoned. I think it's SFR 2 or 3. Yes. So, yeah, so those lots were 60-foot lots when they were built on.
They're across the street from Mountain Brook.
Okay, do commissioners have any questions for the applicant? All right, if there are no questions for the applicant, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of the proposal? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak against the proposal? Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good morning, esteemed members of the board. My name is Fred Marshall. My address is 6716 Green Island Drive. My wife and I live in the property next door to the one that's being, for which the request is being submitted. We have, I guess, several objections to it being rezoned SFR2. For one, the property line, when we first bought the home back in 2002, it was the gentleman we bought it from, the couple that actually bought an extra 25 feet to put in a car pad. And then the two lots that they want to rezone to SFR2, it's actually two smaller lots. And so the house that was there, that was there before, that was torn down to, make way to build another home or two. That's the situation, the history of it. So we have about 4 concerns. One is the property line. We want to make sure that whatever happens, that the property line, because it was an extra 25 feet, was purchased by a gentleman named Wayne Kennedy, who was a previous owner, Wayne and Helen Kennedy, is still respected. I have looked for the marker, and I haven't. I mean, maybe I just didn't see it, but I don't know where it is. I just want to make sure that they don't start building and then realize, oh yeah, you're building over where you should be building. Another one is the drainage. I'm going to pass around some pictures of drainage. Now, admittedly, we live slightly downhill from the rest of the homes on Green Island Drive, so I'm not asking the builder to defy gravity and redirect water flow. But prior to that lot being, that home being removed and the lot being cleared, we always had, rainwater coming down the hill, but it was pretty much clean rainwater. Now, because of there not being any vegetation, plants, trees, whatever, no foundation, there's a lot of erosion. So we get, when there's heavy rains, we get a lot of clay coming in, like a river of clay water coming down our driveway and actually into our garage. And I'll pass around pictures of that in a second. Okay.
Ms. Morgan, can I request that you put that on the screens,
Oh.
please, instead of passing that?
Yeah, that's smart. So that's the second concern. The third concern is privacy. So we, having 2 neighbors, I am totally in favor, and I've talked with Ralph Leary. He seems to be a nice guy, and I know he builds good quality homes. It'd be a custom home that he would build there. So that's not in question at all. But 2 homes there on a lot that used to just have 1 home, it's going to reduce privacy for both us and the lady that lives on the lot that's on the other side of us. That's another issue, privacy. And then the property value. Now, I believe that our property values, whether there's 1 home or 2 home built on that lot, will almost certainly increase. However, I think they would increase more if it was just 1 home built on the lot than 2. If I were a homeowner, or if I were a prospective homeowner looking to buy there, I would prefer 1 home with a bigger lot than looking at 2 homes on each smaller lot. Now you think, well, it's only, a few feet, whatever, but when you're talking about having neighbors that, and it's not just a few feet, it's, 25 feet, 2 homes split on 2 smaller lots, it's going to be inconsistent with the other homes that are on that street. So there are a couple of homes on Whitesville Road that sort of illustrate this. They set up, I guess, around St. Mark's Church. I don't know if some of you all know where I'm talking about, but they sit kind of back, and they're nice homes, but they're sort of close together. And that's one comment that home buyers, when you're looking for homes, it's like, that's a nice home, but it's kind of close. They're close to each other, too close. I'd like to have a little bit of distance from my neighbors. So, like I said, I'm all in favor of Leary and Brown developing that land and building on it, but I oppose 2 homes being built on it. I would rather see just 1 home because that would be more consistent with the zoning currently on the street.
Just so I'm clear, your concern on the property value is with the value of the lot in question and not with your own property value?
No, our own property value, because when we, again, I believe it'll go up either way. I just believe it'll go up more if it's just 1 home than 2. Okay. So, I don't know if you all, I'm sure you all have driven through neighborhoods looking for a home or whatever before you bought yours. A common sentiment is sometimes, you think that's a nice house, but it's too close to the neighbor. I mean, I would like a little bit extra land. But yeah, is to see it, to address the drainage issue, you see where that's all muddy, and you see on the right side, on the left side, that's our driveway, our garage door, and the walkway. Again, they can't control the rain, the rainwater. However, it's before that lot was, that home was removed, it was just regular rainwater. But since then, it's been like clay. And I know he's put up silt fences to try to mitigate that somewhat, but it's been only minimally effective. So anyway, those are our objections to rezoning SFR2. And I'll be glad to entertain any questions.
I have a question for
Sure.
staff on the drainage issue. Is that something that city engineering would address before issuing a permit?
That's correct. The stormwater inspectors and the engineering department would look at that before anything was built. It would have to meet the ordinance standards, the stormwater standards.
And they would look at the impact on not just that lot, but on other lots in
Correct.
the neighborhood?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, the drainage, that's just one of our objections. That's not the main one, but, because I know that can be resolved. But it's mainly the property value and the traffic too. From 16 trips to 25 trips, again, this neighborhood is, it's not technically a part of Green Island Hills, but it's, I joke that we live in the poor section of Green Island Hills. It's not, I mean, we're very blessed to live there, no doubt. But it's just having two homes that close together, it's going to, again, I think it's inconsistent with what's already there. It would increase the traffic, and it would make it somewhat less desirable, even though I know that there's, the homes that will be built there will be custom homes. I would just rather see one custom home built there and with, a nicer lot, a bigger lot for that homeowner than two that are smaller. So.
Okay. Do commissioners have any further questions?
But to the earlier point, this is already two parcels, correct? So legally, technically, you all can build two houses on this as it is right now. One of them SFR1, one of them SFR2. So this.
One would be legally non-conforming, but it would still all be SFR1.
Yeah, okay. But the point is, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but they also have the complete right to build two homes on this. And that, I don't know what we as a committee could change on that.
Well, like, as Morgan pointed out, one of them would be non-conforming. So I just think it's in the interest of the neighbors of that street that only one home be built there instead of two, because again, I think that the resale values for all the homes would be higher if it were just one home than two. Because eventually it's like, well, we can, when my wife and I, if and when we ever decide to move, they could, and we've had people approach us about selling our home. We're not interested in selling. They could tear that one down and put two more there, and then the neighbor on the other side of Ms. Carricker, they could tear that down and build two there. And so eventually it's like you have a bunch of smaller homes on smaller lots, where before there were better, more attractive size lots than are being proposed to build the same size homes on. So they're not even, I mean, it's going to be a good size home, but a nice size home that's actually going to be bigger than ours, it's going to look inconsistent on somewhat smaller lots than the other homes are on. So those are our concerns.
Thank you. Do commissioners have any further questions? No? Okay. Would a commissioner like to make a motion?
I think the contractor would like to
Oh.
address some of the concerns if he can.
Please do.
I'm sorry, I just saw him.
Sure, I'd just like to address some of his concerns, and we'd be glad to do it ahead of time. So rezoning this property is actually gonna let us build a larger home on one of the lots. The property we were building previously is on a 100 by 150-foot lot. So it's a 15,000 square foot lot. They bought that and tore it down. So we're gonna have a 90-foot lot and an 85-foot lot, okay? You can build basically about the same size house on those lots. They're gonna be a more expensive home on an 85-foot lot than it would be on a 75. So these homes are gonna be anywhere from 2,500 to 3,300 feet, and they're gonna be north of $600,000. So somewhere between $600,000 and $800,000. So they're certainly not gonna be cookie cutter, cheaply built homes. We're gonna fully landscape the yards. That will certainly address the drainage issue. They'll be fully landscaped to the street, irrigation systems put in, what have you. So, it's certainly not gonna decrease the property values. I don't know what the other parcel sizes are. I'm not sure what his lot size is. I'm not sure what the other parcels are on that street. There's not a numerous number of parcels available. This was by far the largest one. That's why we purchased it. It was 175 feet. You're not gonna be able to buy a 100-foot lot and cut it into two lots. That's what made this piece, appealing to us, was we could get two lots out of it as it sits today. So, I think it will certainly enhance the area. As far as building one home on it, you're going from building a home on a lot that's gonna be worth $150,000 to $160,000 to trying to build it on a $300,000 lot. I just don't think that area will support a home on a $300,000 lot. There's nice homes there. When you build on a $300,000 lot, you're gonna be building $1 million plus home. And that is a little busier street, and I just don't think that there's a market there for $1 million plus home. So these will be very nice homes. I think it'll, enhance the streetscape and what have you. So we're anxious to get started.
Thank you. Mr. Marshall also mentioned his first concern being the half a foot that was purchased by the previous owner of his plot. Are you aware of that, or?
Well, I mean, we had it engineered before we bought it, and we have a preliminary plat from the engineer. We will certainly have to have it replatted and re-engineered before we start and clearly mark that line. I mean, we're not gonna build over a property line. We'll have to adhere to the setbacks for SFR2, which I think is 8-foot sidelines, 10-foot sidelines. I mean, we're not gonna build wall to wall, but we'll have to adhere to those sidelines.
Okay, thank you.
So I thought I was clear when I said, I didn't say it would decrease the property value in any way. I made it clear that whether they build one or two, it's gonna increase. I just think it would increase the property value more if they built one. And I never said it'd be cookie cutter homes. I have a great respect for Leary and Brown, the builders. They build very, good quality homes, and it's gonna be a custom home. So I have no objection there whatsoever. Also, he said that the lot wouldn't support one home. It supported one home before, so it'll support one home again. I think as a prospective homeowner, I believe that one home would be more attractive on that lot than two homes closer together on smaller lots would be. So.
Okay, thank you. All right, would any commissioners like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. When it comes to REZN 04230714, request to rezone 0.6 acres of land located at 6700, 6708 Green Island Drive, current zoning SFR1, proposed zoning SFR2. I make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second? Second. Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. All right, I see no further new business and no old business. Okay.
This is my last meeting, and so I just wanted to say thank you. It's been a real honor serving with everybody on the Planning Advisory Commission. I especially want to thank John Renfro and Ralph King for answering a million questions when I first started this job. And it's been a real pleasure serving Columbus on this board. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your service. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn? And seconded. All those in favor? Okay, meeting is adjourned.